LBT280, and we'll go over the urinary system. Did you guys go over this in anatomy and physiology? Do you guys recall?
Did you teach us it?
I don't recall, because I usually don't do this one in either one, so I guess I'll save it for this class. You got kidneys? How many do you have? Two. So if you get a kidney transplant, how many do you get?
One.
No, you still have two left. They just add on a third one. You guys know that? They don't remove the bad one. They just add it on. So now you're walking around with three. The new one just hangs out a little bit lower. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah, it's more dangerous to try to cut up all those blood vessels and reattach them than to just attach the third kidney. Pretty crazy, huh? Ureters. How many ureters do you have? Ah, two. Very good. All right. That's very important. And then how many bladders do you have? Oh, okay. So cyst just is generic for bladder, so they have to tell you urinary or cholecyst for your gallbladder. And then for your urethra, how many of those do you have?
One.
Well, very good. So that's your clue, because you got two of these kidney-shaped things, and then you got two of these tubes right here, and then you got a holding tank, and then you got an exit tube. So these U terms are very similar. Just be careful. Ureters, urethra. What type of waste do you produce that's filtered out by the kidneys? Well, yeah, name me something toxic though. What gives your pee-pee that lovely smell and lovely color? What is it? No, fish, they get rid of ammonia. So fish use ammonia to get rid of their nitrogen waste compounds. What do humans use? Urea. All right. What do birds use? Have you ever seen a bird pee?
No.
Can a bird carry that much water weight? So what does it produce instead? Uric acid. So you guys heard of these terms, right? You guys heard of gout, uric acid forms. So that's one waste product, and the waste thing that they're getting rid of is nitrogen. So if you want a good garden, where do you want to pee? In the garden. So you need good nitrogen in your garden. So nitrogen and carbon's what your garden needs. No green thumbs. Nephrons, that's the functional unit of the kidney. So that's the up-down portion and all the blood vessels. So nephra is also a root for your kidneys. What's another root for your kidneys? Ren. Yeah, your renals. Homeo, same. Stasis. Keep it there, right? So remove metabolic waste. We talked about one, nitrogen waste. Also, it balances this guy. What does your blood pH need to be? 7? What's so funny? Do I amuse you?
Yeah.
Funny how? Okay. 7.4. So, how do you keep your blood at 7.4? With your kidneys. Get rid of acid and what's the opposite of acid? Base. So if your blood goes too high, too low in acidic, then you're going to pee out the extra to maintain a blood pH of 7.4. So in a way, too much acid, too much base can be a waste. What's another waste? Somebody's eyes lit up when I said, hey, do you want to do the 5-panel or the 10-panel drug screen? So your drugs get broken down into their byproducts called metabolites. Now the drug is out of your system, but the metabolites might circulate in your system for a while. So when they're doing a drug screen on you, they're not looking for the drug. They won't find the drug. They're looking for the metabolites. So be prepared. Hormones. Yeah, your kidneys produce hormones. So we're not talking about like the major glands of your body, pituitary, thyroid, thymus, adrenaline gland. We're talking about other chemical messengers made by other organs of the body. So your lungs make hormones, your kidneys, your GI tract. So erythropoietin, what color is that?
Red.
Red. So what do you think this guy stimulates? Red blood cells. So if you have kidney failure, what also happens to your red blood cell count? Yeah, you're no longer going to produce this. So have you guys heard of blood doping? Or one form of blood doping. You guys heard of EPO?
No.
No, EPOgen? Alright, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? That was the Tour de France. So if they were stripped medals from all the people who won, they would have had to go down to 18th, 20th place before the first person that was clean in the Tour de France. So if they weren't cheating, they weren't trying back then in the early 2000s, late 90s. So EPOgen is the hormone, and we have it in a bottle. So if you want more stamina, what do you need? To carry more oxygen. So if I want to bike 100 some odd miles a week or whatnot, then I need a lot of stamina. So you can increase red blood cells by working at elevation. Your body adjusts. But these people were cheating. They were just poking themselves, injecting EPOgen, getting more red blood cells, more stamina, more strong, right? More cheating. Renin. You guys heard of renin? So that's a hormone. We can isolate it now. We used to only get it from animals. But it produces a hormone that causes your blood pressure to go up. So here's your blood vessel. When renin is there, the steps produces the hormone that causes your blood vessels to constrict, therefore increasing your blood pressure. Because how does the kidneys filter? By blood pressure, right? So the kidneys filter based on your blood pressure. So if I need more filtering, I need more blood pressure. If I need less filtering, then I need less blood pressure. And how does the kidney control it? With renin. Retro, behind the peritoneal. So that is the membrane of your abdominal cavity. And if your kidney shut down, what takes over? Nothing. So if you're at below 10% kidney function, that's kidney failure. So what's going to clean up your blood then? Hemodialysis. But if hemodialysis isn't available, then we'll have to use peritoneal dialysis. Use that membrane in your abdominal cavity now to take place of the kidney's job. Take place of filtering your blood for you. You guys know how that works? So they make a little hole in your belly and they pump in salty, salty water. Wherever there's salt, it's going to suck in water. So that membrane in your abdominal cavity is now doing the filtering. So as it sucks in water, it's going to draw in waste as well. Lovely, lovely Coca-Cola color, and then you rinse and repeat for the rest of your life until they got a machine for you or a kidney. Which liver, sorry, I gave the answer away. Which kidney is lower? Which kidney is lower?
Right.
Why? The liver. So tucked under your rib cage on the right side is your liver. So to make a little bit of room for that, the right kidney is a little bit lower. Right? So if you want to incapacitate somebody, just give them a good shot right to the liver. They'll spill their guts, literally, right? So the liver will accumulate toxins. So whatever the the liver can't convert, and then the kidneys filter, the liver will hold on to. All right, how many kidneys?
2.
2. How many ureters? How many bladders? 1 bladder. And how many urethras? 1. So just don't mix up these two names. All right, red and blue. Which blood vessel is going to the kidneys? Red or blue? Okay. Which one? So veins or arteries? So red is artery. So renal artery. So that's going away, right? Artery goes away from the heart. So high blood pressure in, and then the arteries go back out. So we have afferent, and then the veins coming out, efferent, going outwards. All right. Don't get bogged down too much on the different names. I'll just point out the main names of it. So renal signs, helium, that's in this area. When we get to the next images, I'll point those out. Renal pelvis, that's where everything collects at this point here. Cortex, outermost layer. So cortex is just a generic term for what's on the surface or the outer layer. So what's the term for the middle or the center? Medulla. All right, so medulla just means the middle portion. Pyramids, what shape are pyramids? Are you sure? No, what's the bottom of the pyramid?
Square.
Okay, yeah, you're right. They're triangle. So these are going to be triangular shaped portions of the kidney. And then the columns are in between. So I'll go to the image and I'll point out all these terms for you. So this image will be a lot better for you. So the cortex is the outer surface. So that's just this thin layer around here. And then the medulla is actually in the middle, all these triangular shapes. All right, so all the triangular shapes are the renal pyramid. And then where it collects, right? You got the calyx, the pelvis, the hilus. Those are all similar, right? So right here, where everything collects, that's the renal pelvis. That little like dimple that's caused right here, that's the helium. The functional part of the kidney are the nephrons. So there's multiple parts to it. So the main part is going to be the glomerulus and the renal capsule. Together, that is known as the renal corpuscle. Glomerulus. What's the glomerulus?
It's the tube.
No, not the tube. It's the meatball. So the glomerulus is this bundle of blood vessels, right? And it's very leaky, right? So you got this blood vessel going out, and then it branches out, and there's a bunch of holes. And under pressure, right, anything that leaks through those holes will leak out. So indiscriminate filtering through the fenestrated capillary bed. Fenestrated just means holy. So there's holes poked in it. So it's going to be leaky. Water's going to gush out. Protein, salt, drugs, indiscriminate filtering. So whatever's collected will be caught in Bowmans Capsule. Right? So Bowmans Capsule is what surrounds the meatball, the glomerulus. So that's the leaky bed. Whatever leaks get caught by the Bowmans Capsule. Together, the glomerulus and Bowmans Capsule is known as the renal corpuscle. Very good. So what are the two parts of the renal corpuscle? The meatball and the cap, right? The glomerulus and Bowmans Capsule. Right. So whatever is going to be collected here. So stuff that we might want back. I want that water back, right? Because if we didn't collect that water, we'd pee 800 gallons a day. That's how much your kidneys filter in a day. So most important thing is that recollection. So all that water is still in the tube, and it goes along the proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal means close to, right? So proximal to the renal corpuscle. So this wiggly part here is the proximal convoluted tubule. And then the down up part is called the loop of what? loop of Henle, right? So down up, loop of Henle. So that's very important because you get this counter current flow. And then far away is not proximal, far away is distal. So this is the distal convoluted tubule. Right? So this is about where we recollect most of that water. Now they don't draw the blood vessels here, but all of these blood vessels, they continue and they wrap around the entire nephron. All of the convoluted tubule and the up and down portion. Right? So that counter current flow is very important for us to reabsorb. Right? We want to reabsorb from high concentration to low concentration. Makes it a lot easier for it. What about the waste that didn't get filtered? What do I do with that? No, it didn't get filtered. I can't pee it. It's not part of the pee. So in the glomerulus, it's indiscriminate filtering. Whatever fits through the hole, fits through the hole. But if it didn't get filtered out, how do I pump it into the urine? I'm going to have to actively secrete it. Right? So there's certain things that just don't get filtered out. I have to actually put it in the urine. Your body has to actively dump it into the urine. All right, so what is the renal corpuscle made out of? One, the glomerulus, which is the, what's the word fenestrated mean? Fenestrated. Has a bunch of holes in it. Yes, that's how it makes it leaky. So you got blood pressure going in, and there's holes here, so whatever gets filtered out indiscriminately, and it gets collected into what wraps around the glomerulus? Bowmans Capsule, right? Oh my God, I just said 2 minutes ago. You forgot already. That's why I have to repeat it, right? And then we'll repeat it again tomorrow. So, it's your first time, watch it again and again. It'll help you understand. So right now we have some filtrate, indiscriminately filtered. It goes to the proximal convoluted tubule, and then down the loop of Henle, and then back up the loop of Henle, then the distal convoluted tubule. You guys are going to have to know the tracing of urine from blood to the outside world. All right. So all the filtrates collected in Bowmans Capsule goes to the proximal convoluted tubule, down the loop of Henle, up the loop of Henle, and then to the distal convoluted tubule, and then to the collecting ducts. All the collecting ducts will collect the final urine. So where does the collecting duct lead to? What tubing? The collecting ducts become what tube? How many of those do you have? Two. Very good. You got it. All right. Not bad. So we got the renal artery going away from the heart. Arterioles just means they get smaller and smaller, and now they become the glomerulus. So they're very leaky. What does fenestrated mean? Bunch of holes. Very good. So when you are in medical surgery and you have to use a fenestrated drape, right? That's just a cloth or a drape with a hole in it. So it exposes the surgery site. So just remember, fenestrated means a bunch of holes. Efferent, right? So that's on the way out. So afferent is to the glomerulus. Efferent is on the way out. Afferent to, efferent out. So arterioles are the small blood vessels, and now they're wrapped around the convoluted tubules and the loop of Henle, because we got to secrete the junk we don't want and then reabsorb all the stuff we do want. Then they collect into the capillaries, What does peri mean?
Around.
Around. So they're going to be around the tubules, right? To reabsorb what they need to, or dump what they don't want, and then the renal vein. So now we have the nephron with the blood vessels. And just know that here we got indiscriminate filtering. So whatever I can filter out, I filter out. And then I gotta pump some of the stuff that I don't want from the blood into the urine. And then some of the stuff I want back, I'll reabsorb. So you guys ready for the tracing? No? Okay, too bad. Thought you guys were born ready. All right, so artery, renal artery, and then you got the glomerulus. So 1, 2, 3, Bowmans capsule, convoluted tubule. And do we want? Nah, we don't need those. And then you got the loop of Henle, then the distal convoluted tubule, and then the veins. Pretty easy, not too bad. I can add in the arterioles if need be. But you can do it. So that's the blood vessel. And then you're collecting ducts and out. All right, first step, filtration. Indiscriminate. So whatever fits through the holes under whatever pressure, blood pressure is, will get squeezed out and collected in the capsule, Bowmans capsule. Mostly liquid. So there'll be salt, sugar, proteins, waste products, some acids, some base. Whatever leaks through will leak through. So filtrate gets collected in Bowmans capsule, and then it goes to the convoluted tubule. Sympathetic. Does that upregulate or downregulate? If I said it was flight or flight, fornicate or feed, it would be upregulate or downregulate. Yeah, so when you're ready to fight, your blood pressure needs to go up to circulate oxygen and sugar so you can stand up and fight. So that will increase filtration. So if you constrict blood vessels, does blood pressure go up or down? What? You went from 5 lanes to 1 lane. Does traffic go up or down?
Down.
So pressure is going to go, oh my God, I thought I had logical for you. So when blood vessels constrict, blood pressure goes up because now there's less lanes on the highway. So that means filtration goes up or down. More pressure. Do you push more stuff through the holes or less stuff through the holes? Oh my God, more stuff through the holes. Just fill your mouth with water and try to push that water through your teeth. And now open your mouth and now try to push that water. All right, so here's just a picture. So you got blood flow going in, and just under pressure here they drew the holes. So those are just the fenestrated capillary beds. And whatever fits through those holes will get captured here inside Bowmans capsule. And then runs down the proximal convoluted tubule. And remember, there's blood vessel wrapped all around it. So if there's stuff I want back, I'll reabsorb it. If there's stuff I don't want, I'll secrete it. I'll dump it into the urine. What's one thing reabsorb? Reabsorb. Yeah, that's the most important thing. So if you only can name one, just name that. We'll pull back proteins, blood proteins like albumin that's lost, sugar. We'll put back some sugar. So there shouldn't be an excessive amount of sugar in your urine because we should reabsorb most of that. What controls water reabsorption? Reabsorption. So we have antidiuretic hormone. Where is antidiuretic hormone made? Good. In the brain. Hypothalamus. Where is it secreted? Anterior or posterior pituitary? If you said posterior pituitary, then you recall anatomy. Very good. So it's made in the hypothalamus, stored in the posterior pituitary. Antidiuretic hormone. So it prevents you to lose water by reabsorbing it. So if you have diabetes insipidus, do you have too much ADH or too little? Diabetes insipidus.
Little ADH.
Too little, because it causes you to reabsorb water. So if you don't have enough, you're going to urinate everything out. You're going to flow like a fountain. Diabetes insipidus, low ADH. What is aldosterone? Any athletes? Anybody want to cut weight? So aldosterone is another hormone, and it produces the hormone, helps produce the hormone that eventually causes your blood vessels to constrict. So is that going to increase or decrease filtration? Yeah, that's going to increase aldosterone. So if you're an athlete, if you're a wrestler and you got to cut weight, what do you want to use? ADH or aldosterone? Ah, very good. So if I'm testing athletes, what am I looking for? Diuretics, because that's cheating. Because you're going to cut your weight, get rid of all the water when your body says to stop, then that's cheating. Cut your weight, lose extra, performance enhancing drug. Tubular secretion. So now we are actively pumping waste or things we don't want from our blood into what will eventually become the urine, into the renal tubules. So, drugs. Are you going to actually get rid of your actual drug? Yeah. Initially, remember, when it's in your system as the drug, you're going to get rid of it. And then afterwards, once your liver breaks it down, what's left in your system? Metabolites. And these guys will last a lot longer in your body. And that's what they're detecting when you're getting hired and they're doing a drug screen. So they'll do the initial dip test on it because that's a quick and dirty method. But then, if they need to verify, they'll send it out for more analysis. Hydrogen ions. Is that acid or base? Oh my God. Acid or base?
Acid.
Are you sure? Is that acid or base?
Acid.
Which one is it? The top one or the bottom one?
Top one.
Hydrogen ion, so it's acid. This is hydroxide. Hydrogen ion, hydroxide ion. So this is base. So what should your urine be? Acid or base?
Combination.
Acid.
Your urine is usually a little bit acidic. And sometimes, depending on the drug therapy, we may want to acidify your urine or make it alkaline based on the treatment. And then any waste, especially nitrogen waste. So what's our nitrogen waste molecule in our body? What type of compound makes our urine lovely smelling and yellow? Remember?
Is it potassium?
Fishes uses ammonia. Birds uses uric acid. What do we use? Urea. Alright, so ammonia. Very, very water soluble. Where do fish live? There you go. So, do they have kidneys? Do they pee? Do fish have kidneys? Do they pee? Have you eaten a fish and go, oh, fish kidneys, yummy? Have you? No, they have structures that act like kidneys, but they're not called kidneys. So, trick question. But do they need to pee? Do they have a bladder for pee? No, they just leak out their nitrogen waste in their environment. Ammonia is very water soluble. Birds. Have you seen a bird pee? Does it lift up one leg and squirt? Or what does it do on your car? What color is it? So that is uric acid. So does it dissolve in water? Not very well, right? It stays nice and chunky and solid.
Poop and pee the same.
Yeah, and have sex in the same orifice, but that's a different story. That's for reproductive system. So yeah, they hatch eggs out of the same. Urea. So that's our waste compound, nitrogen waste compound. Is it water soluble? Yeah, of course. It turns my urine, pee, and that lovely smell. But what happens when you can't make urea and your body makes uric acid? Then you get crystals, right? You get crystals. Where do these crystals form? In your joints. It could be in your kidneys, yeah. But usually, if it's a metabolic arthritis, then that's gout. So they can go into your joints, crystallize in your joint, very painful. Or, like you said, go in your kidneys and crystallize, and your bladder and crystallize. So that is one of the crystals that you form. You guys didn't know you're a crystal factory, right? But you guys are. Another waste compound that measures nitrogen waste is creatinine. You guys heard of that? So to check renal function, we'll check their CCC, complete creatinine clearance. So that's how much waste is your kidney able to get rid of. All right, another diagram, tubular reabsorption. So tubular reabsorption occurs along the tubules. And this is where most of our H2O is reabsorbed. So how many gallons did I say?
800.
Yeah. So that means the kidneys are filtering through 800 gallons of blood volume, but because of reabsorption, we don't have to pee constantly. Right? So that's a good thing. We absorb. And then all the junk we don't want, all the waste products, excess acids and base, and excess water, we'll just dump out. Urine should be mostly water, so we'll test the specific gravity. Have you guys ever heard of specific gravity? Okay, so by definition, 1 cm cubed, what is that? 1 cubic centimeter? 1 ml. All right, so if you fill that with water, that should weigh how many grams? So yeah, the metric system is logical. So if you get a cubic centimeter and it's just space, that's a cubic centimeter, right? That's a liter of volume. You fill that with water at their standard temperature and pressure, then that is measured at 1 gram. So that's how they came up with 1 gram of mass. So if we compare your urine to water, right, how does it compare to water? If it's heavier than water, then the specific gravity would be 1.1, right, higher. If it's less than water, then you have a bunch of alcohol in your system. Alcohol is lighter than water. So specific gravity is how much, how concentrated your urine is. Any beer drinkers? Take your initial specific gravity minus your final specific gravity, multiply by I think 131, and you'll find your final alcohol percentage. Uric acid versus urea. So what is the main waste in those two compounds?
Water.
Nitrogen. Where do we get most of our nitrogens from in our diet? ¿Dónde está nitrogen? Is it from carbs, protein, or fat?
Protein.
Very good. Because carbs are carbon, right? Carbohydrates, carbon and hydrogen, carbohydrates. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. Carbohydrates. Carbon and hydrogen, carbohydrates. And then for amino, an amide has a nitrogen group. So very good. Protein. Can your body store protein you eat in your diet?
Yes.
All right, if I eat a 5-pound hamburger, I'm going to get a 5-pound bicep. Now I know if I eat a 5-pound cake, I'm going to get a 5-pound booty, right? So, if I want muscle, what do I eat? But is my body going to store it like it is carbs and fat? No. So that means the Atkins diet. You guys heard of Atkins? Or ketogenic? Those are the new fad diet. Because can your body store protein? No. What does it have to do? Get rid of it. How does it get rid of it? By breaking it down into its nitrogen waste compound. And what has to filter it out? Your kidneys. Oh my God. That's the whole chapter. So, if you're high diet in protein, you're going to stress out what organ? Your kidney. So be careful. These fad diets should not be done for a prolonged period of time because your body needs to recover. Short term only. So 6 weeks before your wedding, yeah, have at it. But then stop because your body needs to recover. You can't burn the candle at both ends forever. Did you have gestational? Yeah, so she got that meat diet. That's my favorite diet. So if they told you you can eat all the fat you want, what would you say? No, you wouldn't have avocados, prime rib, fried foods, the good fats. But you can't have carbs, so no French fries. Trade-offs, right? Trade-offs. No rice, no tortillas, no bread, no comfort food, no ice cream.
Is it really? Well, yeah, I guess. Carbs.
So amino acids is okay. You'll have a little bit. But if you have high amounts, then that's a sign of problems. So if your kidneys cannot now control proteins, then you have a leak. There's a nitrogen problem. Shutting down. Acid-base balance. What other organ balance acids and base in your blood? What other organ besides the kidney, which filters pH, acids, and base directly? What other organ helps maintain blood pH at what? What's blood pH again? 7 point what?
7.4.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yep.
100%.
Good. You didn't get scared when I said 7.3? So this is our range, very narrow range for blood pH. If it's outside this range, we go into a coma. Have you guys ever heard of ketoacidosis? Keto. Acid. So what's keto? What's a ketone? What's ketosis? You guys heard of this fad diet but don't know the science? Just do it. Just do it like Kaepernick. It might cost you everything. It will if you don't know what you're doing. Keto is what your body produces when it breaks down fat. That's the byproduct of fat breakdown. So when you're in ketosis, then your body is burning what as fuel?
Fat.
Not carbs. So that means you gotta not eat any carbs at all, because as soon as you introduce carbs in your body, what would your body rather burn as fuel? Carbs, right? So no carbs. Can't even chew sugar-free gum. Yeah. So that's the fad diet. How many ureters do you have? 2 ureters. They lead from each kidney into the storage device, which is the bladder, the urinary bladder. Peristalsis. We'll move it. So that's just wave-like contractions of the smooth muscle. Can you control? No. Smooth muscle you cannot control. Huh. When should you potty train your kid? At what age?
When they're ready.
At what age?
When they start getting on the pot.
There's this dad. He was really mad at his kid because anytime they're around and they put and they're potty training the kid and they put diapers on the kid goes to the bathroom, he's fine. And then one day the kid wet himself, the dad got really mad and he grabbed the kid by the ankle and he slammed his head in the toilet as punishment, cracked his skull, eventually killed the kid. So, how soon is too soon? Was that the appropriate age?
Please tell me you made that story up.
No, it's a story from a story. It was an anecdote from a story that I heard from a learning session. But 2 years might be too soon because the neural connections haven't made it yet, right? The connection from their brain to that tingly spot hasn't made it. the connection's there, but the installation of the wiring hasn't made its way all the way through that tingly spot yet. So when you tell the kid, you gotta go when you feel the tingly, they're like, whatever, dude. So when is a good time to start potty training the kid? How do you know they can feel their tingling?
When they start like shaking around, like kind of
Really? Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay. So when is a good time to know when they actually feel sensation in their genital area? Is when they start to? Yeah, it's normal. We all did it. You did it, I did it. Some of us still did it after the age of 2, but it's okay. So for a kid, it's like they discovered something new. Before that, they didn't even know they had it because I didn't feel the tingling. So what you can do before they feel the tingling is start the habits, right? This is how you sit, this is how you wipe, this is how you wash your hands. When you go, bring them in with you so they see and they know what to do. And then once they start to feel the tingling and start touching themselves, you're like, bing, potty train time. You gotta go now. Better go now. Trigon, how many in Trigon? 3. So that is the connection of the ureters. How many of those do you have?
2.
And the urethra. So right at the bottom of the lower part of the bladder, the 2 ureters will enter and the urethra will exit. We'll go to the image to see that. The muscle around, the durector muscle. So can you control that?
No.
You guys heard of Detra? LA, yeah. So this smooth muscle sometimes contracts on its own, gets a signal, and then you feel like you gotta go all the time. Isn't that a pain in the butt when you were pregnant, ladies? You felt like you gotta go all the time. Sometimes you go and then nothing, and then sometimes you go and then there's one tingle, one trickle, and then what the hell? I felt like I had to go so bad. I ran all the way over here. Matriculation. We gotta matriculate the football down the field. No? No football fans? You guys heard of that quote, right? I think it was Lombardi or somebody. So, matriculate the football down the field. So that just means to urinate. When you relieve yourself and there's some urine that comes out, that's matriculation, the process of urinating. So, the opening here, your ureter opening there, and that ureter opening there, this area is called the Trigon. So they just named it after three openings. So in the male, we have this gland right here. What gland is that? Prostate. So that produces about 30% of the ejaculate. But men of increasing age, what happened? Oh no, I'm almost there. What are they gonna do to me? Yes, digital examination of the prostate. So, like finding a good steak, that's the firmness that they're feeling for. This piece of muscle in between your thumb and index finger. However, if the sensation or firmness is like your nose, then there might be a problem. And of course, if one side is larger than the other, that's more likely a sign of a tumor or cancer than benign prostatic hyperplasia. Dun, dun, dun. So, for the male, the urethra runs through the prostate. So if this enlarges, the urethra gets pinched off, you might get some urine pooling, and the major cause of UTIs for older males. Don't they just have an x-ray? I mean, at the airport, they like looking through everything. Can't they just zoom me? Matriculation. So here is the sensation that occurs and the signals. So you have stretch receptors, just like in your esophagus for your gag reflex. So if these cells stretch too much, the receptors goes throw up. Same thing with your bladder. The stretch receptors reach a point, they're going to start contracting, giving you that tingly signal, telling you it's time to go soon. Parasympathetic, flight or flight, or rest and digest? Rest and digest. Now, don't worry too much about the urge to go and what controls it. Just know when's a good time to potty train. Bladder to the outside roll. So why do women have more UTIs than men?
Because our urethras are shorter.
Yeah, so that means that's a direct pathway to get to the bladder. And then from the bladder, up the ureters, and more dangerously, a kidney infection. You do not want a kidney infection. Because remember, dialysis is not fun. So, just train your child to wipe, especially your girls, to wipe from front to back or back to front? Front to back. Cotton panties or nylon synthetic panties. So they used to recommend synthetic fibers. The idea was that they didn't hold on to moisture, but they didn't take into account of cotton's natural antimicrobial properties. So now they're going back. Now they're recommending cotton again. How else can you prevent UTIs? Drink water, clear fluids, stay hydrated, go when you need to go, don't hold. What, front to back? Urinate after intercourse. What else? Shower, change the sheets.
I have a question about the urinating after intercourse.
And Dan?
Because I've heard people say to do that, but you naturally have to do that.
Okay, yeah, then good thing. Go
but
for it.
But is that the only reason why you're supposed to?
Well,
to prevent UTIs, or it's just natural to
help.
Use it after?
Yeah, it's natural, and plus it helps. It helps. We'll talk offline. I got questions for you, Nancy. All right, acute, fast or slow? Fast, right? Happen suddenly, onset, and very major. So failure is when the kidneys are below 10%. So at below 10% kidney function, you're gonna need some kind of dialysis. Chronic, fast or slow? So usually slow, that means it lasts forever, a long time. Be careful of cardiovascular disease, because if you have heart problems, then they might spread to kidney problems. Infection of the bladder, not too bad. They send you home with antibiotics, maybe some pain reliever medication. If it is a kidney infection, however, where do they want you?
Hospital.
Because if it turns for the worse, then it can kill you. If your kidneys go into failure, then you die very quickly. So they'll keep you in the hospital, make sure they give you the stronger antibiotics. And if that doesn't help you, though, they're going to keep you for a while. Urgency, feel like you got to go. Incontinence, you already went. So you sneeze, a little came out. Somebody said a good joke, you laugh, a little bit came out. So again, pregnant women, you got that uterus pressing on your diminished bladder. Polycystic, so cysts are normal. They're usually just benign sacs filled with fluids. So you get plenty of them, they can damage part of the kidneys. Here's the kidney. Now it's in your phyllo, in the pelvic kidney. More dangerous. And lastly, calculus. So this is one cause of stones, is minerals. So calcium is one. But you can also get it from proteins, biosalts that solidify. And to treat it, what's the first option? First option, there is naturally let it pass. If that doesn't work, they might put you in water, hit you with sonic sound waves, and hopefully that breaks up. So sound travels faster in water, so there's more power. So hopefully that breaks it up and then you pass it. So they're just resorting back to the first option. Next is drugs. So hopefully the drugs will shrink them, dissolve them, or help break them up. But you're still going to have to pass them. So they're just resorting back to the first option. So if 1, 2, and 3 doesn't work, where do they go? So trypsy, lithotripsy, where it's literally crushing the stones. They go in, crack, crack, pull out what they can, and then you wake up. They call that male childbirth. All right, with that joke and laughing high note, I'll leave you guys there. Let's go ahead and go to break. If you gotta go, please give us some midstream catch urine.
I have a question about